Welcome back to Bot Bros, where we separate the AI hype. Sorry, no. Welcome back to Bot Bros. I'm going to have to clip that, but it's live. Dang it. Dang it, live. Where we separate the help from the hype, right? Because there's a lot of hype. And I always get that reverse some reason on the show. But when you go live, there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to keep going. This is a part of the AI-driven marketer podcast. I'm excited to kick it off because I'm Dan Sanchez and I'm here with my brother Travis Sanchez, hence the Bros and Bot Bros. And we're going to be talking about this exciting season that we are in AI right now, because anytime OpenAI makes moves, like the industry is paying attention because they're the leaders. And anytime the leader makes a move, everybody has to pay attention. It's like Claude can make a move and everyone's like, oh, cool. Oh, maybe Claude's the new up and coming, but we all know OpenAI is still the leader.
True.
But there's always the Claude fanboys out there that are like, see, Claude's the best. Claude's the best. I'm like, well, they're still not the category leader and they're far from it. So they could do this little extra thing better, but I'm a ChatGPT user. So it's exciting for me anytime ChatGPT has got new stuff. And Sam Altman just announced a couple days ago that they're doing the 12 days of Christmas and that they're going to release some features every day for the next 12 business days. Some big, some small.
Boom.
So I'm here for it. Yesterday, they just did their first launch. And by the time we wrap this up, they'll probably be beginning their second launch. I wish this were coming just afterwards, but no. But we could talk about what happened yesterday. And yesterday was pretty big. Two different things happened. One, they took O1, which is their reasoning model. They took it out of preview. And now you have access to O1. And I saw the bar graphs. It was like much better. Maybe not like twice as good, but probably like 70% to 80% better in a lot of categories. I'm like, that's some freaking solid improvement. So there was like preview was really hampered down, but O1's pretty good. They also released O1 Pro, which based on all the bar charts I saw of improvement was getting like a 10 to 15% gain on O1, which is good. And the only way you can have access to that one is via a new product they released called ChatGPT Pro. And that's $200 a month, which is a freaking hit. But I'm like, you know what? Good for them. Good for them. Because I'm sure Pro costs a lot to run. So they got to monetize it. And I'm pretty good. I'm probably going to be pretty happy with O1 and probably don't need the little extra for O1 Pro.
Right.
But that's what they released yesterday.
I saw someone kind of responding to somebody complaining about the $200. They're like, excuse me, would you not pay $200 to have PhD level just in about everything in your pocket all year? $200 a month, really? It's like, well, yeah, but it's the utility.
Powerful AI on the planet, and you're complaining about $200.
200 is a hit though from 20, but these guys got to be profitable.
But I'm like freaking ecstatic that they even released O1. That's really freaking good. It's available for $20 a month. Like, are you freaking kidding? It's like so undervalued. Like all of AI is pretty undervalued right now. It's so freaking cheap to do such amazing things.
Wow.
But I think that's the big problem is there's all this new tech is on the table and people really still don't know quite how to leverage it.
Yeah.
And I think O1, even O1 preview was one of those things. People are like, oh, this is cool. What do you do with it? Have you found you utilize O1 preview a lot, or do you just kind of go there every once in a while?
I go there every once in a while, and usually it's to have a hands-free conversation with O1. I mean, it was O1 preview, so I haven't used the new O1, but I'll ask it a myriad of things. How do I use a paint sprayer? What's the best exit strategy so I don't get like totally taken advantage of in crypto? I mean, there's all sorts of things that I'll be talking to it about, but yeah, I haven't seen or heard anyone using it like you mentioned for that utility for it to really change the game. You know what I mean? I mean, it's changing the game, but not to the degree that I think we're all waiting for, right? Like a robot taking your dirty laundry, putting it in the washing machine, pulling it out and folding it and putting it away. That would be like, are you serious? That would be the kind of stuff we're waiting for AI in terms of SaaS or, I don't know, marketing for us to really have a breakthrough.
Essentially do everything for us and you delegate obscure projects to it. Yeah. Like clean my whole house without defining what clean means, without defining whole house. You're like, I don't know. Is it going to scrub every,
or hey, I want to get
all
leads.
the silver.
I want to get leads for this client. give me the best options with $500 a month in lead revenue or ad money. And they're like, okay, here's your best options. Which one would you like me to execute on? You're like, number 2, please. It's like, great. We'll have a report back at the end of the week. It's like, okay, great. That's the kind of
that's where it's
AI
really
marketing help.
It would be fun just to have a personal assistant doing all the little crap you don't want to do throughout the day. But someday, that coming soon, next couple of years. I use O1 when I can't get it done with another model. Like most things can be done with just 4.0. So, there's one of my favorite memes, and every time I see it on Facebook, it just makes me smile so hard. Is like this silly meme for like, it's mainly for like dads, but it has like this little crescent wrench. It's when, I think the top of the meme says like when a bolt won't move, it's being stubborn. And it has like a crescent wrench, a mid-sized crescent wrench, a really long one.
Yep.
And, then it has like a drill or something. And the title's underneath it, small one. It's like, hey, move, please. Bigger one. I wasn't like, please, like maybe move with like an exclamation point. And then the longest crescent wrench, the big long ones, the breaker bars, they call them. It's like, I wasn't asking. And then it has like a proper drill being like, now you're in trouble. I love this meme because I think it applies to like ChatGPT. Like if you just use the 4.0 model, it's like, hey, can you help me with this? And then of course, sometimes it can, it's too complicated. And the thing you can do to move down the model is just move to 0.1 preview. It's like, I wasn't asking. Right. If you need the more power, go for it. It's kind of how I use it. Or if I have something that like, you have a question, but even in your mind, you're like, this is complicated. There's like 5 different factors to consider. And if I were going to do this with 4.0, I would probably have to think through it all myself and do it. Like recently, I had to think through insurance, but then I have a major medical expense coming up, and then I have my kids, and I went through an insurance plan, and there's all these different offers. And anybody who stared at insurance, you're like, oh my gosh, so much to consider. Oh, which one's going to save me the most money and give me decent coverage? So I just copy and paste it all into 0.1 preview at the time. And so I think through this. Here's the circumstances that I have coming up. Here's my current thing. And it was probably like multiple paragraphs of information. But guess what? It took it through, thought through it step by step, calculated it all out, and then gave me back an answer. And after reviewing its answer, I was like, that's the right answer. Now I know exactly what to go forward with. And 0.1 previews for stuff like that, where it's like, you have to think through like multiple dynamics in order to arrive at a conclusion. It's good for that stuff.
Yeah, I'll have to see what do you think there's going to be any change with the 0.1 versus 0.1 preview for plus users?
Yeah, no, they update. You can't even, like in my online one, you can't even see 0.1 preview anymore. It's just 0.1.
Okay. That's why I was like, where did 0.1 preview go? They just changed it to 0.1. I got a little confused. I was like, they took preview away and just put it for $200 a month. I was like, dang it, that's dumb. I thought they removed features. That's good to know. Clarification.
Sam Altman had to clarify because I think a lot of people, I just assumed I was going to keep 0.1 preview and that 0.1 and 0.1 Pro was going to go behind that $2 paywall. Right, and I was like, crap, dang, I was really hoping to get that, but I get it. If it costs a lot to run, it costs a lot to run. I can't blame them for not wanting to like lose money, you know, but I'm glad we all have access. If you pay for the $20 a month, you have access to 0.1. So I'm really looking forward to developing that and seeing like what it's capable of now. Running the things I'll be testing first as a marketer is just like running through strategic questions. Like give it a lot of information about your company, or maybe like your strategic marketing doc, and be like, based on this customer feedback, what recommendations would you make to make more profits in the next quarter, right? Which is common cards. Like, I need more money now. Like, hey, give me some creative marketing decisions. What would move the needle soonest given these constraints? Like, I think its ability to work through bigger problems like that are like straightforward is going to get better and better as the reasoning model like starts to think about these things.
Right.
So 12 days of Christmas. There's freaking 11 more days left, and 0.1 was already like a big one. That's probably the most expected one. Everybody was kind of expecting that the preview would come off.
Are they going to launch? I can never remember the name of the video AI model. Sora. I was going to say, that's what I was going to say. Sora. Do you think they're going to land that on the 12th day of Christmas?
I don't know, but I think what they're going to do is they're going to release it, and it's going to be part of the Pro.
Oh,
that's my guess. And everyone's going to be like, frick, because it leaked 2 weeks ago. Honestly, that leak they had with Sora, I was like, that looks like such a planned leak.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, that looks like a stage thing to drum up some buzz
Man.
before they actually release it to Pro. But it would make sense to put it in Pro because a major reason why they haven't released it that people assume is just because it costs so much freaking money to run.
Right.
Like they'd have to charge a lot more. You think about like Runway has to charge $20 a month to release their model for video. And they're only releasing like 10-second clips where Sora does like 60, like a minute or two or something like that. It's much longer and it's much more detailed and better, which means it costs a lot to run in the background. So of course you'd have to charge at least double because you're already paying for the language model plus the video model. Like it's a lot of processing power. So it makes sense that they would just throw it into the 200 one. That would make sense to me. So I'm kind of preparing myself for that, even though I'd love to have access to it. I'm probably not going to pay $200 a month for it yet.
And this is why NVIDIA is in the top bracket for valued companies.
Yeah, well, I mean, Amazon's starting to throw their own chipset.
Yeah, they're like, we're developing,
which is good. We need competition because if NVIDIA is the only one, that's a problem.
Yeah. Wow.
So, what else do you think they're going to release over the next few weeks?
Sora was the only one I could put my finger on. I mean, people are, I think, waiting for that video model. So, gosh, what else would they release?
Come on, bro, it's a big one.
I mean, their image creation is.
Oh yeah, that's one.
Has been struggling, so I think that's going to have an upgrade.
An update, yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Come on, I don't want to pay for Midjourney anymore.
They're going to have bots.
You think they'll release some agent thing? That would be cool.
That would be huge if they release an agent, but because there's other companies dabbling in agents, I mean, that could be the 12th day. Agents is such a big deal.
Could be ChatGPT 5, bro. They're waiting for that. Part of me is like, if ChatGPT 5 is really a step up from 4.0, like how does that play with O1 preview exactly? Or O1? You know, it's kind of like these models are starting to get confusing about what to use where. So, but that has a code name of Orion, and he teased back in like September that it would be coming out in the winter.
So
yeah, he's trolling us. Like, I won't get into the details of how Sam Altman trolls people, but
we haven't quite entered winter yet, though.
Technically, I don't know. I count December 1st as winter. I know technically it's not. What, December 20th is winter?
Yeah, it's winter solstice or whatever, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Does the 12th day put us in winter?
We'll see. Doesn't seem like it. I'd have to look it up.
I think some of the little things that they're going to launch over the next 12 days is just better integration between all these models. Like, wouldn't it be great if in your custom GPTs you could specify, hey, use O1 to do this thing, and then use O4 to do this thing, and then build a canvas for it, right? Because the canvas is only like one, you can only access Canvas on the online version, not on the apps. And then there's many times where I want to use Canvas. I'd love to be able to access their awesome Canvas feature in a custom GPT, but I can't. So I often have to bring a lot of the context I already have set in a custom GPT, copy and paste it into a fresh Canvas window, and then have it build me a blog or whatever where I can edit on Canvas. So I think they're just going to pull a lot of the stuff together because right now it's been kind of messy. Like where I'm literally going from the Mac app to the online one and then back to the Mac app for this thing. And I'm like, come on. Like, I'm having to jump between bots and do weird handoffs. I'm like, can we integrate these things a little bit better or just put it all in a custom GPT so I could build it all there? But, oh well.
Wow, I didn't think of that. That would make integration much smoother.
In other news, something like we've talked a lot about like AI video, how we weren't even expecting it to blow up this year, but it did, and it's getting good. And probably this time next year, like everybody will be making AI videos. And it's good enough now to do some shorter things. But one thing that took off this year that like totally blew my mind, especially from where it started, because it wasn't even a thing until spring of this year, and now it's actually freaking good, is AI music.
Yeah.
Like Suno is crushing it. And I don't know where, I think the other one's Udio, which is the one I experimented with when it first came out in the spring. But Suno with this V4 is actually putting out really, really good music now. If you go back into AI Driven Market, the last podcast was a whole thing about how I made a whole album with it. And it's not a marketing related thing. It's I made a Christian album around the Psalms, and if you're into that stuff, then check it out. It's fun. But I did it as like just a test project to see what it's capable of and to just walk it all the way through. And I even published it. Hopefully, it'll be out on iTunes and Spotify soon if I don't get flagged for making AI stuff. I don't know. I don't know a lot about music law and
What's the
regulations.
protocol? Yeah.
I just paid CD Baby the $10 and put it out there, but you can find it on YouTube now. I wanted to just do it as a test project because I'm thinking that this is going to be a really, really cool tool in the marketing belt for content marketers for the next
to create music.
Yeah. Like because honestly, you think of content marketing, well, you're stuck with like what? Talking head videos and blog posts, ebooks, podcasts. I remember when James Carberry, James has a lot of creative ideas. He's an entrepreneur, great guy. But one time he saw a viral video go off where it was like a music video from some YouTube creator. And I was like, man, we can't make that. Do you know how hard it is to make the good lyrics, like record it so it sounds good, and then making the video? I'm like, oh my gosh, James, we're like the chances of it going viral is so low. Like that's a huge, heavy lift to do that. Now though, not so much. Like
Video.
now we can actually put out actual good music with lyrics that hit at a certain nerve for a certain person, right, and like could be good content. Like I would do more music, but it was just too expensive and I didn't have the know-how to do it. I always thought like if I just knew an acoustic guitar and could come up with some jingles, like I'd be putting out TikToks of that all the time. I'd be coming up with marketing jingles. Some would miss, most would miss, some would hit. Marketing, like every marketer knows like you need to hit on the emotions, right? People make emotional decisions.
You talking about marketing jingles for a client or marketing jingles as an infotainment piece to teach people about marketing?
All of it. Yeah. Okay. I think you can do jingles. I think you can use AI music to like make podcast intros. I need to make one for this, even live show would be really fun. But I think you can actually do it as content. So here, let me pitch you what my next idea, and you tell me if it's a worthwhile idea, because right. I'm going to try to make it with Suno. But I am a marketer of marketers. Like if you're watching this, you're probably a marketer. Like I market to you. Like I'm a marketer's marketer, if you will. And yeah. I've had that many times, and that's what I do with the show. I'm marketing to marketers. So what I'd love to do is come up with an album for marketers. Now it could be just funny and us making fun of ROI and this unrealistic expectations of CEOs and make it a joke. And that's many people have made music videos like that in marketing already. Okay. But I'm like, the thing that I'm inspired by that I'm like, like maybe, just maybe I could hit a different chord, a different tune. Do you remember that there is a series on YouTube from the Enneagram? I'm trying to remember the ones, but he wrote like a song for every Enneagram number. I just listened to him recently as I was rethinking about the Enneagram, and I went and found my number and listened to it. And I listened to them all with my wife, and we actually like listened and actually like realized some things and actually cried as you're going through these deep things. I'm like, can I do that for marketing? Ooh. Let's be honest. There are some deep things, some deep emotional crap what marketers get drugged through sometimes. Like what if I made a song that like hit a nerve about how it feels when you actually crush it, and the very next day your CEO's pissed that you didn't like crush it more? Dude, have we not all been through that situation? Like, what if you could make music that hits at that emotion of like feeling like you're on top of the world and then just like, bam, hammered? I'm like, oh, that would hurt. Yeah.
I mean, I think anyone in that situation has felt that at one point or another when it comes to dealing with an oversight. So that goes outside of marketing, because how frequently you could be on a sales team, you could be on an admin team and go like, wow, I did so much great work today. And the boss comes in and just rails you. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. That could just hit an emotional level for a lot of people. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, what other emotional issues have marketers had to deal with that I could write about? And it's not like I have to write it. I could literally just like word vomit the idea into ChatGPT and have it write lyrics and then modify them until I'm like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Put it into Suno, give it some general direction on like the feel, and just experiment until I find a hit where I like listening to it, then just publish it and see what happens.
Right.
Nowadays, because it's so fast, this brings up a bigger conversation of like, now you have the tools to do just about anything. Now video is almost there, but like music wise, you can make just about any song with any kind of lyrics you'd want, whatever style you want. Like the world is your oyster. You don't have to have any skill or hardly any skill in order to do it now. It's unfair for musicians, but I'm not here whether to argue whether that's fair for musicians or not. It just is. So now the only gateway is your ability to put the idea down and actually get it out. But it doesn't really cost, it does cost some time, but not that much. Not as much as it did before. So I think there's an opportunity here for smart marketers this year to experiment with this and try something different with it. And I'm like, I'm going to be taking my shots at it.
If I'm being honest, the only way I see it working is if it's some sort of parody, almost comedic, but truth lies in the joke. But to make it like serious and emotional,
I'm going to try, bro. I'm going to take my shot.
It doesn't quite resonate. I'm just kind of like,
but so many songs are that. So many songs aren't the lighthearted ones. They're like, I was thinking, I'm like, because songs revolve around the deeper emotions. And that's why we like music, because it can even help us work, like feel what was stuck inside. It helps us bring it to the surface and for us to feel it and actually process it emotionally. It's one of the reasons why we like music so much. But I don't know. I think you can hit out a lot of different emotions marketers feel, of like uneasy tensions, of guilt even, or right when all the stars finally align, you finally feel like, oh my gosh, like it actually worked. That moment where you weren't sure and it came through. I feel like there's a lot of emotions there to try to hit at, and I don't know. I'll give it a shot. Maybe it flops, but right now the cost is low, so it doesn't matter if it flops because I could just take another swing and try the comedic.
True. It's not.
You can do that faster now too.
It's worth doing for sure. My pessimism is like, I don't think it's going to stick, but doesn't mean you shouldn't try.
Yeah. I remember like Gary V did something once and it was kind of interesting, but he did like it wasn't even spoken word. It was almost like he just like he spitfired some like intense 10-minute sessions and when he was on a plane, and then he just had music mixed to it or something like that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And it was good, but it was more like a sermon jam, if you've ever heard that. Or when they put
that's exactly what I was thinking about, but I wasn't going to say it.
No, not even a sermon jam. It's like those motivational speaker jams where it's different people at motivational conferences and they just put it to music. It's really intense. David Goggins, Denzel Washington, Tony Robbins, and they're all just dropping these one-liners that could like change your life if you just
and you mix them all into the music so you could like get fired up while you're lifting or something.
The niche marketing bit, I'm just like, you need something more general. But hey, listen, you're a marketing to marketer, so you are in a niche market,
Could try. It could flop. So moving on, in the news, Liam Otley, who's kind of like an AI. He's an AI marketer selling to other aspiring AI marketers or agency owners. I don't know. But he put out an interesting video talking about like the rise of generalists and how specialists are going to go away in marketing in general because of AI. His ultimate premise is that with AI, a generalist can hit as hard as a specialist across a lot of different areas because AI makes it more accessible. And part of this resonated with me because even I used to be a graphic designer and I still end up designing a lot because it's very relevant for marketing. But now with AI, I can end up creating graphics and make logos I had no business doing before because it can illustrate. And I know enough about design to reverse engineer something that DALL-E or Midjourney gives me. And I can make logos and just run through hundreds of comps in Midjourney, pick out the one, mix it a little bit in Illustrator, and actually develop something that I can hit at a higher level now because I'm as a graphic designer now. So part of me resonates with that, but part of me is like, but is that the future? Because I'm a generalist for sure, and I'll be able to take advantage of it. But I'm like, I feel like most people will still gravitate towards being specialists. What do you think?
I hadn't even processed that question until you mentioned it earlier before the stream. I'm thinking through just my experience with specialists and generalists. I think I don't know if it comes down to the knowledge base, but more it comes down to the execution. So yeah, if you've found a generalist who can really execute and is leveraging AI for their benefit, and they're executing hard and testing and revamping and retesting, and they're able to do that faster than the specialist that's currently on the team, and they're able to see a lot more work done in a week's time, then yeah, I think a generalist could overtake. But I think it does bring up the user knowledge base for sure, or it brings up the knowledge of the generalist. I think it's going to come back down to execution, because even a generalist used specialists to their advantage. They knew they didn't know, so they would hire. I mean, the good generalist would hire a specialist if it was on their team, if they're the CEO, even if they're not the CEO, but they are, a director of an area. So if a generalist can now leverage AI instead of hiring specialists, then yes. But if it's a generalist who doesn't have that authority or the confidence to go hire other specialists, then the specialist would still win. So my answer is a little bit unconclusive. I think it depends on the generalist and their aptitude for executing and confidence. That would be my final saying.
I have a feeling that it'll still end up being complicated as much as AI. It seems like technology always makes things easier and then somehow more complicated and hard at the same time. And I'm kind of wondering if that trend will continue even as AI like fixes so many different things. I'm like, right. Yeah, but there's unforeseen complexities in this. Kind of like marketing automation made everything easier and then 10 times more complicated at the same time. So I'm like, there will probably still be specialists. We'll just be specialists at making AI music or writing or whatever the heck. Part of me struggled to do the AI music thing because I don't understand a lot about music history, about all the different theory terms. I was even looking for a specific type of rap, and you're like, dude, yeah, that's called trap. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what I'm looking for. It's like I didn't know. Once you told me, I got farther down the path.
You understood,
so find it to get the music to go in the direction I wanted to sound like. It's easier for me as a designer because I understand more of the language of what I want. So working with Midjourney is pretty intuitive for me. But I think the specialists will still do well. So I think the people saying specialists will go away, I've started circling back and being like, yeah, maybe not, probably not.
I mean, if the specialist is using AI to their advantage as well, I don't think they'll be disappearing.
Yeah.
They'll be able to understand how to leverage AI to their speciality.
Yeah. Like developers, right? A lot of people, coding's going to go away. I'm like, except the way I would use AI to code and how a developer uses AI to code is a totally different game. Yeah. I can develop maybe a simple WordPress plugin with AI at its best, but developers are still using it to leverage to build whole intense applications. So we're not at that point, and it'll probably continue to it'll get smarter, and I'll be able to go up, but they'll go up too. So I don't know if there's a point where it starts to level off. We'll see. Looking at some poll results, I put a poll out on LinkedIn, and I just asked, a lot of people were mad at how general this question was, but I just wanted to see what people's perceptions was where would you rate your AI skills? Right. There's a lot to be lacking in that question. It's like, how do you even rate that? And I have the answers of expert, advanced, intermediate, beginner. And you're like, well, how do you specify AI skills and then specify how you would grade them is what some people were saying. I'm like, yeah, but still, I just wanted to see where people felt like they were at in general. And chart was fun. I was curious before I dive into what other people said. Where do you put yourself?
I would definitely put intermediate. I mean, yeah, I would put intermediate. I'd probably put you at advanced.
Yeah, it's probably where I put myself. In fact, the screenshot I have here on our notes has a little check mark because that's indeed what I checked as soon as I published it. Expert, it's kind of like there's so much to learn still. But what's interesting was when I talk to people, like I always assume people might be intermediate, and I find that they're actually beginners. So it's like it's hard to know exactly where you're at because there's no grading scale for this. Part of me wants to make a grading scale though, so people can actually. I think that was my beef a year ago. The reason why I even started this channel is I didn't even know how to rank where you were at.
Right.
How do you know if you're gaining skills? And back a year ago, people's best advice for learning AI, just go dabble with ChatGPT It was kind of like, yeah, but when does dabbling become actually major steps? Like if I wanted to take major swings at learning this, what would I then do? And that's why I started the podcast, was to start interviewing people, really testing things, putting out what I'd learned on there.
I read recently that people are attending different courses that Amazon, Microsoft, other companies are putting on to learn AI. That record numbers they're just continuing to climb up into the right of people trying to figure this thing out.
I've not yet seen someone do a course and then show me something cool they made. Everything I see is everybody I see who puts out cool stuff that they tried literally just rolled up their sleeves and had an idea and started trying to figure it out. So I'm like, I haven't seen the value in the courses yet, but they like it might be there, and I just don't know. Well, the way the poll turned out was on the ratings was from expert, advanced, intermediate, and beginner. 10% of people rank themselves as experts. It'd be interesting. I because I put out the poll, I can actually go and through, and I think I'll break that down and come back tomorrow. Like, what kind of people rank themselves as experts would be kind of interesting. Are they people with AI in their title? Are they founders of tech companies? Maybe they're CTOs and are actually like dealing with the APIs and actually stretching it. Those people, in my mind, those are the people who are experts, who are the people who are having to take OpenAI's API and then use it to build applications and really like they're really engineering stuff. Those are the experts in my mind. They're doing cool stuff. Who like what kind of 20% put advanced, so 10% expert, 20% advanced, 46% intermediate, and 24% beginner is where it's at. Now these are people who respond to this poll, which I'm finding the people who follow people like me, because I've now niched myself into AI, are usually more on the avant-garde. Right. There's a reason why they're responding to my poll. It's because they're finding they're reading content from me. I'm putting out stuff. Been putting out stuff about AI marketing for over a year now. So therefore, the people answering this poll are going to be better than average, right? If I were to put it out on like a random non-AI person, it would probably be down a level, is my guess. But still, it's interesting. I think it's growing, and it'll be interesting to do this again next year and see where it's at. I wonder if it'll stay the same because the amount of stuff to learn is growing, or if people feel like they're becoming more confident, and they'll see if the numbers move again next year, and I'll just poll people again. And lastly, I usually pull up a viral post. This isn't a viral post at all. In fact, it was a post that's hardly seen by anybody, but I saw it probably because I look at a lot of content on AI. But I wanted to show it because I think it kind of is a showcase of that music and AI thing. On a creative level, not a marketing level, but I have to share. So let me pull it up. This is a fun little piece that I saw here on X, and I saw this and I was like, this is a good example of like where video and AI music can come together to make something fun.
What the heck?
And that sounds like it.
Well, I'm not getting any audio, so
no audio. Can you see my screen?
I can see it, but I can't hear it.
Oh, what a miss. What a miss. Man, where's the setting for that? No idea. I'm afraid to share any of my settings on Restream unless it gets hacked. I'll have to bake it into the actual podcast and drop it in.
Great.
But it's essentially just like no singing. It's all Metallica sounding stuff, hard rock. What I like about it is that they're all 10-second clips going back and forth with music going on. And I'm like, this is an example of like what it's capable of if you put them together. But I think, like I said in the beginning, like marketers could be taking advantage of the tech to do fun little creative projects just to test. Now, I think the ones who test it will probably get a little farther just because right now it's novel. Kind of like we saw Coca-Cola put their thing out and everybody talked about it. I think marketers now have an opportunity to do something novel in a way that's actually accessible that people can actually do and get out there really quickly, even as just some tests go out. Of course, there will be some people probably like on this channel where we'll do some tests and then somebody will actually use it for a company and see if they could do something similar. But right now, I think that's the low-hanging fruit. One, because it's novel and everybody will be paying attention to it just because it's AI. But two, because I think we can hit some new nerves. Man, do you remember in social media, like people didn't know what to post?
They didn't know what to say.
Like 14 years ago when social media was becoming a thing and it was obvious that it had a lot of consumer attention, people were like, CEOs were like, I don't want to post what I ate this morning. Well, my demographics aren't on Facebook. They were. They just didn't know how to post. Now it's obvious. Maybe I should post about my product. Maybe I should post about ways to use the product. Maybe I can answer people's questions, right? Like some of the early use cases were like I can't remember his name, but the guy who wrote, he would just literally answer questions about different types of pools they could build in the backyard. Or Gary Vee was doing like the wine show and just like sampling wine on YouTube.
So funny.
Early days, but that was cutting edge back then, man. Just sampling wine with people and then eventually famous people over and over again, so that people looking up specific wines, they'd find him tasting it and checking it out. That wasn't intuitive to everybody. And I think that's where we're at with AI. Like, people need more use cases, and someone's got to go through it and test it and see what it is. But the ones who do are the ones who write the playbook.
You know, as we've been talking about music and even the video you pulled up now, things that I've seen celebrities do to get more attention, more PR, is release one song. The Rock did it, and terrible. Like, he can't sing, he can't rap. It's awful. But he's so popular and so liked that the terrible song actually becomes popular. It actually becomes like net positive, even though it's terrible music. So the YouTuber Kai came out with a song and it was terrible, but people still play it because it's Kai and they just love him as a streamer and as a YouTuber. I'm like, man, maybe marketers will get into utilizing this kind of music stuff.
I swear someone's going to crush it with it. And like, okay, imagine this. Imagine you're a company that sells, I don't know, let's just go, it's like a B2B tech company and you sell to veterinarians. Okay. B2B, you sell to veterinarians, small shop, you have a veterinarian CRM. What if you created a TikTok channel where all it was like little 60 second songs, and you just found a premise to talk about animals.
Why animals are worthy of being tracked in CRMs, and you kind of make it funny.
You could,
or emotional.
But you just find some kind of angle to incorporate animals, and you just do little songs, and that's it. And then you record them. Maybe you bring up a guitar and you just lip sing it and like playing to a golf club. I don't know. Like there's something there where you could just have a YouTube channel of just song after song after song. Because it's easy to produce now, you could have a whole premise around it. I need to sit down and think through like different premises of what you could take and how you can make it interesting. You could go the funny route and just make it comical, which probably do pretty well from the beginning. But you might be able to do something more. I swear somebody will find a way to like just release album after album or TikTok video after TikTok video, just music, and it will it'll get enough attention that people will watch it, think it's funny, and it'll go viral, and you will get inbound leads from it.
Wow.
There's something there that I know it sounds stupid right now, but I swear it's like social media sounded stupid back when social media was a thing too. TikTok sounded stupid to businesses literally just a few years ago. B2B was like, no, this is dumb. I'm never going to be on here. Now they're all doing it. They're all freaking doing it and putting up clips.
It's true.
So it always sounds stupid in the beginning. It always sounds stupid. But like every marketer wishes they would have hit TikTok sooner or earlier. Every marketer, including me. And I knew it was going to be big. And I'm just like, I know it's going to be big. I know I'm going to be saying my future self's going to be mad at past self for not taking advantage of this. I knew it, and it happened. Not this time.
It's funny.
Well, thank you all for listening to Bot Bros. It's going to be a banger next week because, again, there's going to be 5 more drops from OpenAI from this time next week. So we'll be talking through which ones are helpful, which ones are less helpful. There's going to be a lot of hot news coming in next week. So stay tuned. Live on LinkedIn if you're not paying attention there, and then drop in on AI Driven Marketer. Subscribe, Apple, Spotify, or everywhere you get podcasts. But of course, it's on YouTube to watch as well. See you next time.